Well, Dennis, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Let's start with name, mob, and where you're from.
Yep, my name's Dennis. I am Wiradjuri Darug background, so down New South Wales there, freshwater fella. Originally from Ngunnawal country, so I grew up off country, and now living up here, sunny Queensland.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, you've been doing some great work in the community. Can you let us know about your current position and your job title?
Yeah, so I'm a community education counsellor for South East Region Department of Education. And I guess the easiest way to explain what I do is I remove barriers for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander families, whatever that may be. It could be accessing medical diagnosis. It could be support with at risk for homelessness. It could be food insecurities. Could be anything. Yeah, it's pretty good role.
Now, I'm going to make an assumption here that a lot of what you do, you're so good at because of your lived experience.
Yep. Yeah, and I think families and kids especially, kids, they know when they're talking to someone, they're pretty quick at working it out, whether you grew up tough or whether you've read a book, so they know if you've just been to uni or if you struggled as well. Kids are switched on, man. They know everything.
And our kids are very, very, they're on.
Oh, 100%.
They can read very well,
very quick,
spiritually as well.
Yep, survival, they've got to learn to adapt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, some of those tougher things that our mob and our children are facing, do you want to share some of those and maybe share some of your lived experience, maybe growing up, could be some primary years, high school years, to share a bit of your story for us?
Yeah, man. So I think it's a very different world now to when I grew up. I grew up back in the 1900s, so yeah, I'm a bit of a dinosaur these days, but yeah, it was tough growing up. I've got three brothers, 2 sisters. I had to think about it. 3 brothers, 2 sisters. We grew up in a little 3-bedroom home. My mum and my stepdad owned their home, and it was in a pocket that everyone around us was public housing. So back when they would put streets and streets and streets of public housing, the shops there today, the local shopping centre that's been boarded up for the last couple of years, there's not a lot doing, was what I'd describe as a normal childhood. So, you don't really know any better. And growing up, we didn't have a lot. We weren't a rich family at all. I probably saw and went through more before the age of 10 than most kids will see through their lifetime. Which is hard thinking back on it now. But the time now, it's very different. Every kid's got a phone. If they want something, they can get it. It's at their fingertips, and nothing worth having is at your fingertips. We've got to work for things in life, and kids these days just don't have to. They've got it so easy. And in that itself, they struggle. They struggle with work ethic and a lot of different various things as well. So yeah, different time, man. Different time, for sure. Yeah.
And now, when you're a young man, let's just go teenage years, let's go preteen, maybe 10 to 15. There any experiences in your life that really shaped who you are and why the work you're doing now is so important?
Yeah, man, what a loaded question.
This may have had something to do with the fact that we had a bit of a yarn prior to this. So any context, we can share more as we go on.
Yeah. It was tough, man. So my parents split when I was real little fella, and I still remember it. And I remember having a conversation with my mum, and I told her that I remembered, and she said, "There's no way you could remember that far. You can't remember." And I described the layout of the house, and one thing stuck with me was I had chicken pox, and she was putting calamine lotion on me, and the toaster caught fire, and she threw it out the back. And I explained, I told Mum that situation, and she just burst out crying. She just couldn't believe I remembered that. And yeah, I remember when my dad left. Mum remarried to my stepdad, who I get along with now. He's a great fella, great with my kids. But it was a very difficult time growing up. You know, my dad, I'd see him every second weekend. And he told me that I didn't have to really listen or do what my stepdad would say, or at least that's the message I got. And so I'd make life really difficult for myself. Through my teenage years, I was a pretty angry kid. I wasn't, no, I lost it a bit there. I wasn't a happy kid. I remember laying in bed. I would have been maybe 10 years old. I had a Discman, and I was listening to heavy metal and Metallica. And I remember looking out my window, and I was thinking that I'd been given to the wrong family. And my family's, there'll be a knock at the door one day, and they'll tell me, you know, this is your real family. I didn't fit in. I didn't feel like I belonged, which is horrible, man. For a kid like that, that's a horrible feeling. So I had a rough start. I got bullied a lot at school as a kid. Couldn't tell you why. Just kids can be cruel. But when I was 15, my dad took me to Bulmanella Oval, and they had a boxing gym there down the back. And I wanted to learn boxing. I was a talented footy player, but wanted to box. And mate, life changed from then on. Yeah, definitely put me on a different trajectory in my life. Yeah.
You would have been naturally talented, and with your experiences, did you find, the minute you picked it up, was a very good outlet for you to express, decompress?
It was addiction. Every day I was at the gym. And I remember I'd get there early, and I didn't know at the time, I didn't have a good understanding of it. I'd be 14, 15 walking in, and there's all these old fellas sitting around the table having afternoon tea, and they'd feed me up there at Bulmanella. And that's all the uncles and aunties there, and we'd have some good yarns. And one of the things that they'd said was, you drink or you smoke and you're out of the gym. You can't box. So I've never had a cigarette in my life. Just side that it stinks. But, I was so fearful that had happened. And so I'd go and box, and I just, couldn't get enough. I remember I've actually just reconnected with the fella I had my first fight with, young Max, in Griffith down in New South Wales there. And it was my first fight, and we had a barn burner of a fight. I just finally allowed to throw him, and so I won 4 of my first 5, including a state title. So there was no one in my weight division at 81 kilos. So, I was a pretty light fella. So I drank a whole bunch of water and weighed in with my pockets full, and weighed in at about 81 and a half. And I fought at the 91 kilo division for the state title, and won my first state title. And it went on from there. I ended up winning a couple of those. And following year, I won a silver medal at the Nationals. So in my second year of boxing, got a silver, and I was gutted, mate. I wanted to walk away. But then I went on to win 2 back-to-back gold medals, and be this young little skinny fella that, didn't look much, that could throw hands was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, some of the young kids that you may be working with, are you noticing you're seeing some similarities, and you can help mentor them through maybe some harder times that they're going through?
Yeah, man, 100%. These kids, you can only be what you can see, and if you don't know you can be anything better, why would you? Why would you try? So I love in the way that I've gone about landing my position that I'm in now. These kids are able to wake up and see what's in front of them, what they can be, and being able to dream. That's the thing for these kids, being able to dream. They can be everything. We got black doctors and deans of universities and teachers, and man, we got all this stuff. But if you don't know, why would you shoot for that?
That's right. And in the 90s, we didn't see any of that.
That's it. Nothing.
first generation business owners and homeowners. A lot of us are now in 2025.
Yeah.
So now you've had some awards with your work. Do you want to share about that? And
Yeah,
maybe
I've had a couple of little ones. I think
couple of
like
back-to-backs.
couple of back-to-backs. Yeah. So I think I'm more proud of like what I'm doing now than my sporting career. I went on to have nearly 100 fights and win professional titles and all of that sort of stuff. And those awards aren't even out. You know, in 2021, I won a NAIDOC Sports Person of the Year award. So my career was well and truly over by that stage. It was just from the work I was doing in community coaching. I was awarded a Sports Person of the Year award. So that was a defining moment in, I think, this new trajectory that my life's on. Really validated that, you know, community sees me and hears me and values what I'm doing. And then I've won 2022, 3 and 4. Oh, no. 3, 4 and 5, 2023, 2024, 2025, Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander Community Service Awards through uni up here, which is pretty cool.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just find like, it's just easy, man. It's just easy. I love doing it. It's not a chore. It's not boredom.
You're just living your truth and
just addicted to it.
Yeah.
Just helping them. Help a mob.
Yeah. Is what you're doing with your work, is that helping heal parts of yourself?
100%. My motto, and it's, you know, I'm at uni now for the 4th time. The first 3 times I hardly passed the subject. And I'm just about to finish my degree, my first degree. And the slogan, every time I log in, I've changed it so it's custom. And it says, be the person you needed when you were a kid. And that's what I'm doing every day, just being who I needed. And, you know, it might be that, you know, a year 6 boy comes up and sees me and he's upset and he might need a hug, you know. And sometimes when kids are blowing up or getting upset or dysregulated, I just will say to them, bro, do you need a hug? And you just watch their face change. It's like, how does this guy know?
That's affecting me, hearing that. Thinking back as a young man, just some of the stuff.
Man, I can't remember being hugged as a kid. Not one time.
That's and now for our young kids who just don't have that support at home, what is some advice that you might just be able to give to help someone watching? They may be 17 watching this podcast randomly, early 20s, but just general advice to help people through some of those tough times, and especially our young mob.
It's never over. It's never over. And I'll often hear from kids, oh, I had no choice. I had to do that. And it's like, no, you always have a choice. Even if we're in prison, you know, we still choose how we feel, what we do. You know, you might get told you can't leave your room. We choose what we do in that room. I remember I just was having a yarn with my brother the other day, and we were talking about being kids and sent to our room. We had nothing. We had no toys or nothing like that. And we come up with all these cool games. And one game was we were playing knee footy with a pair of socks. So we had no ball. So we could sit there and feel sorry for ourselves and be sad, but we didn't. We turned it into a game, you know, and you might be sitting at home and have no iPad, no, you know, none of these cool things that you really want, but we choose how we feel. You know, we choose how we feel. We choose what we do next and what happens next. That's the most important thing. What happens next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a huge piece of advice because, yeah, it's, you know, there's that saying about it's not what happened, it's how you react to it. But just acknowledging how you're feeling and trying to make decisions in the moment when your emotions are heightened as a young man. So some of the sporting outlets, you know, our mob is so talented at sport, and they all don't have access to the facilities or the training facilities, you know, You encourage them to sort of look for community outlets, free community,
man.
boxing gyms, and
There's plenty of people out there that want to help. It's about asking for it, and sometimes we might need a nudge in that direction. And a lot of my role is just linking people up.
Yeah,
I don't feel I do a lot of above and beyond things here, but I just help to link those people together. There's plenty of people that want to help.
I'm sure you help a lot more by just being there and just being yourself and having that lived experience. You've got so much to offer.
Yeah.
You know, even just me sitting here yarning to you outside of this context, it's like, it's nice to hear someone who's got parallels of similar experiences and not quite the positive ones. Because I rarely talk to people that we've only touched the surface on a few things, but, you know, just knowing that there was stuff that was happening and you know, we're not alone. And now here we are meeting for the first time, having a good yarn. We had a good yarn on the phone, and we said, it'd be good if we were recording this podcast because we were on the phone.
Mate, that's one thing I can do is I can have a chat. I love having a yarn, and I think that comes back to being isolated as a kid. You know, I was isolated from my friend groups. I was isolated from, you know, doing the things that other kids were doing, and I've always felt different. And I make up for it. You know, if there's half a chance to have a yak, or, you know, one thing I always tell people, I'm born with a gift of storytelling.
You know,
give me a boring story, I'll make it good.
Yeah.
And you know, that's actually a great segue on here because I've got so much to tell. And I've always wanted to do an autobiography and write a book. But the ADHD in me, I've got stove, you know, things cooking on the stove, left, right and centre. And I've taken a little turn and I think, you know, I'm going to start writing some kids' books. You know, like what's something I can do to help kids and how do I reach more kids? And so I'm going to start writing a little series of kids' books and they're just going to be, I'm going to pick something about I struggled with as a kid and what I did and what I should have done, you know.
That book that you needed to read as a kid.
100%. Yeah, exactly what I needed to hear. And, you know, even at school, like I had a teacher in year 6 and he was real strict. I remember it to this day, clear as day. The kids that didn't do their hair, or, you know, he'd get them up and he'd give them a dressing down. You wash your face, you do your hair every day, go to the bathroom. And, you know, that stuck with me. And everyone thought he was just a strict, you know, bit of a prick. But, man, he's looking out for these kids. And I bumped into him working as a youth worker at a school. I used to do a little bit at different schools and walked into the school staff room and, you know, this fellow, there he was standing there and he's going to shake my hand and then he's just hugged me out of the blue. And we had a little bit of a yarn of, you know, me in year 6 and he said, yeah, I knew you were struggling. And I thought, how, man, like I covered this up so good. He saw straight through it, you know. And it's funny because he's a fellow that, you know, the way he was with me, that stuck with me. That stuck with me.
Mm-hmm. And now you're that person that...
Trying to be, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Now, some of your personal accomplishments, can we share that and maybe how you heard about IBA and talk about the personal accomplishment through there?
So me and my wife, we've been together, funnily enough, this month, it's 20 years for the second time. So we had a bit of a false start. We dated and then I went to the World Championships when I was a kid and, you know, I was away for a little bit. And then when I've come back, we got back together. So 20 years and life hasn't gone how we planned it to go, as it never does. So about 10 years ago, my wife, maybe a bit older, maybe a bit longer than that, she was diagnosed with lupus and functional neurological disorder. So it really kind of put a big strain financially on us. My wife worked part-time whilst trying to juggle, you know, 3 kids, and I'm forever in debt to her for what she's done for our family, and she's an amazing woman. I wouldn't change anything for the world. But it just limited my dream a little bit, or our dream. And I think as a man, it's inbuilt that we want to provide for our kids. You know, food, housing. That's the two things that we look at, and you know, we kind of decided that we're going to rent for life. Like that's, you know, we're going to be stuck doing that. And I remember probably 18 months ago, I went and I was laying on my 6-year-old at the time's bed. And I just said to my wife, like, I'm just so stressed with bills, and, you know, I just don't know how we're going to afford a house or afford rent in such a market that it is at the moment. And, anyway, later on that day, I was just scrolling through, looking at some different information of what's going on and what things were out there for us. And I came across a couple of videos just on pathways to home ownership, and started watching that way. And, you know, it's led to having a yarn with someone that's given me some good advice. And 12 months later, we've been in our new place for 10 months now, you know, like we own our home. Like, holy shit.
Wow.
That's, yeah.
So you've been thinking about how we're going to move forward with our dream. And then you just sort of scrolling, and then IBA popped up.
So I'd heard about IBA. I've got some good friends, you know, that had let me know about it, and I'd heard whispers and this and that, and but yeah, one of my mates, he was always encouraging me, and I always used to think to myself, like, why me? Like, why is it so hard for me? Why can't I buy a house like everyone else?
Mm.
You know, we get this big dream of, you know, owning your own home, and why can't I do it? Like, and I just, you know, it kind of snapped out of it a little bit. Like, man, I can do it. I've done all these things against the odds. Like, why can't I do that? And yeah, like, it just starts with picking up the phone, asking a question. I sat in a few seminars on what it's like, what we have to do, you know, how do we get things sorted. And you know, now it's funny because I used to look at people all the time and think that. Now people look at me and think, man, your wife is so lucky. That's the biggest flex. My wife gets to stay home and look after our kids. You know,
in your home.
How crazy, eh? 2025, that's the flex.
Yeah.
You know, and people look at me and go, man, how on one wage are you buying a home?
Mm.
Like, that's, yeah, I pinch myself every day. I think I probably will pinch myself every day. Like, I can't believe it.
Can you take me back to that moment where you started maybe getting some information, maybe some seminars, and then something switched inside you and went, I can own my own home.
Mm.
Do you remember that feeling? And then the discussions you were having.
I'll never forget it. My wife, she's saying, yeah, but then just like, calm down. She's trying to calm me down. I'm like, no, it's happening. It's happening. She's like, yeah, but just in case. And I'm like, no, it's happening. I'm doing it. We're doing it. Yeah.
And then you would have been.
I'd say to her all the time, I'd say, we're buying our own home, we're getting it. And she's like, yeah, but then just, I remember she said, we just got to stop saying it because I can't get excited, she said to me. She said, I can't get excited in case it doesn't go through. So now it's happening. We're getting one, you know. And then we finally got pre-approval. I said, we've been pre-approved, Dale. That was the first hurdle, you know. The next one's trying to find one you can afford, right? So, and originally they said, you know, it was for a certain amount. And I was like, nah, I can afford more. They're like, oh, well, this and that. And we scrounged. And I said, no, this income, that income, you know, this is what I need. And I worked with the guys over there. They were really good. Jade, she was really good. And I said, I have to. You just have to do it. And anyway, we're paying, you know, nearly $1,400 a fortnight in rent for someone else's house. Like, that's crazy. And, you know, my mates are like, man, you pay that? My mortgage isn't that much. I'm thinking, my mortgage is not going to be that much. Like, why can't I get this loan? Why can't I do that? You know, we had good credit. We had no extra debts. We had nothing extra. I'll never have a debt in my life other than a mortgage. No way. And, yeah, to get that phone call, we were like, right, we're at a Bulletta gate. We had lists of houses we're going to look at. We said, kids, get bored for the next few weekends because we're going to look for houses. And you know, we had ideals and things set in our mind, and we were flexible, and here we are. It's the best thing we've ever done. You know, like we're renovating at the moment. Off no money, we're doing it ourselves. Like, who cares? Bathrooms are getting done. Our garage has been turned into a playroom. We laid floors a couple of weeks ago. Cost me $200 new flooring, like Mickey Mouse. You'd never know. My wife will love her throwing that in there, that word. Mickey Mouse. I've never said it more in my life.
Love it. It's the first on the podcast.
Mate, there you go, hey?
Pre-approval phone call. Then the next phone call.
Yeah.
What? Talk me through the phone call. I'm really enjoying hearing this.
Oh man, I got a phone call and someone said to me, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "Shut up. Don't say that to me, because you're gonna set me up for failure." And they said, "Oh, you've got it." And I just couldn't contain myself. I was at work, and mate, the worst thing ever, I had to get through the next hour because it was in the afternoon. And now I left to school, and I had some kids sitting in front of me. They're like, "So, are you all right?" I'm like, "Stop. Just don't talk to me. We're doing something good. Let's finish this work." And, yeah, man, I rang my wife. I saved it, actually. I think I might have saved it till I got home. But I just, jumping out of my skin. And, we're close, me and my wife. I leave work, I ring her, and I talk on the way home while she's driving the kids home. And, yeah, we're pretty close. And I just, can't believe it, eh?
What's her reaction?
Mate, she just cried. She's, yeah. And, she's at the point now where she's deciding what she wants to be next. She's been very successful. She got a degree straight away and did business and marketing. So she's done marketing for big shopping centres. And now after the kids, kids takes a toll on women. That can't be underestimated at all. And she's at the stage where she's like, I don't know what I want to do next. And so she's got so much to look forward to. And she owns a home. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. She's a full-time mum and she owns a home. And I feel like I'm halfway there as a husband, as a dad. It's just, you can't beat that feeling. I still say to her every now and then, I say, "Oh, we ready for that inspection next week?" She's still always telling me, "Don't say that." Like, she gets a heart attack when I say it to her.
Because you picked up the phone and made that call.
Made a call, man. I asked for help. I didn't even ask for help. I just asked for information. Click on a link, and there's still there's people now in your mob that'll message me and say, "Hey, bro, it's like, how'd you do that?" So, mate, it's easy. Here you are. This is what I did. Pick up the phone, give them a call.
How was that support, during that process? And
mate, I was pretty motivated. So they were checking on me, saying, "Oh, do you need a hand?" I said, No, I got this. I'm good. But knowing they were always there was good from the IBA. And, they're the start, mate. Like, that's the start. We can remortgage now if we want to. We can look at other houses. I thought for the first kind of 6 months, I was like, man, this is our forever home because we'll never be able to buy another home. And now it's like, nah, stuff that. Like, my house is worth more now. In 10 months, it's gone up $100,000. Like, we might be able to upgrade and, go to something different. So it's just giving me choice, which, we're kind of conditioned to think that we don't have choice in a lot of things that happen in our life. So we get used to that, and you get used to living week to week, and I don't live week to week anymore. At any time there's like money in the bank. That's crazy. That's so foreign to me.
That is a foreign idea for a lot of mob.
Yeah. I'm not waiting till next payday.
Yeah. I like how you said choice, because then it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about choosing the way you feel.
Man.
Ultimately, a lot of the choices have led you here to a lot of people watching this feeling inspired that, hey, I can make that call. I can own my own home.
You can do it, man. And it's like what I tell these young kids at school, like, yeah, oh, this kid's saying stuff to stir you up, or they're upsetting me. It's like, no, you're choosing to be upset by that. It's applying that same theory to life. Like, I'm choosing to feel like I've got no choice. I'm choosing to feel like I'm destined to be a renter forever. You know, I'm choosing to be in public housing.
I can see why you're 3 times back to back.
Yeah.
But that mindset, brother, you know, it's there.
All mindset, man.
And this is what our young kids need, role models like you.
And like, don't get me wrong, it's not, my life has not been sunshine and rainbows. So that's, you know, for sure. And I said to my wife just not long ago, I said, like, I keep pinching myself because I feel like I'm on the purple patch now. You know, I've gone through and I've done things. When I left school, I wanted to go into high school teaching. I wanted to be a high school teacher. I didn't do good in year 12 at all. I listened to the wrong people and failed pretty much everything. I had to go back and resit my year 12. And I ended up getting a good score and I got into uni. I did a degree I didn't really want to do. I thought I did, but I didn't. So I changed degrees and, you know, I had 3 starts and hardly passed the subject. And like, bit of time's passed now and I'm a bit more mature, a bit more ready to do it. And I really know what I want to do. And uni's easy. Uni's easy, man. Like, I want to do it. And the only thing that's changed is my mindset. I just won't accept no.
Yeah. Choosing.
I'll find a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it's early November, around the 2nd today. It's Movember, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. I guess I just wanted to get your thoughts on how important it is to acknowledge and support mental health for men, for mob. If there's any advice, any resources that you could share just to bring awareness to that and how important it is?
Yeah. Life's a roller coaster, man, eh? Like, 1 minute you're fighting for, you know, belts to wrap around your waist and your phone's ringing off the hook with people that you know and people that you haven't spoken to in 20 years. They're texting you, they're calling you, oh, you're the man, you're this, you're that. And I walk away from the sport when I had my first daughter. My phone stopped ringing. No one's calling me. No one wants nothing. That's hard. It's hard, man. You know, 1 minute you're a superhero and the next minute no one knows who you are. It's a hard adjustment period, and I've still got, from high school, one person that I still talk to regularly. One person that I still talk to regularly, which is insane. You know, you think going through school, these are going to be my friends forever, and it's not. And it changes. And but I think getting around mob is really important, and doing stuff you love. I know Uncle Ray Nagus, he's a community connector and mob connector in Logan there, runs a men's group, and they get around, they have a yarn and talking to people in similar situations and speaking up, and people are there to help, man. There's heaps of people that can help you, and unless they know that you're hurt, and they're never gonna talk to you. But yeah, very important to be doing something that you love. Like, I go to work every day and I say, I can't believe people pay me for this. That's yeah, man, that's insane. I get paid to do my job, to help people, to make me feel better. You know, every day it makes me feel better. It's it's crazy. But getting out, reconnecting, hug a tree, man. Like, I say that and people laugh all the time. I'm like, no, really, take your shoes off, hug a tree. Like, you'd be surprised how much better you feel.
Yeah. Even the act of getting outside.
Yeah.
To take your shoes off. Some people just stay inside.
Can't see what my little fella does, mate. Like, no clothes on, goes running in the water, loves it. Get dirty. Who cares? Have a shower. Starts raining, we go outside. You know, live a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just comes back to that. Asking for help is okay. It's okay to ask for help.
Man. Like, I don't know who invented that. Men don't feel pain or men don't get upset. Like, who? I don't know where that's come from. But as a kid, I remember, I was talking to you earlier. I said, don't cry. Don't be a sissy. Like, what does that mean? Don't be a girl. Don't cry. Don't do this. Don't do that. Then you grow up thinking, well, I'm not allowed to be upset because that'll make me a girl, but I'm upset. So what's wrong with me?
It's backwards, isn't it?
Just let that sink in. Hey, like, what are we teaching our kids? I'm going to teach my little fellow, don't cry, don't be upset because you're a girl. But he's still going to cry and be upset. He's just going to feel shit about it. You know, like why would we do that?
Yeah, it's so, I can't, little boys and they cry and it's okay, come here, it's okay. And then one day it changes to, no, don't cry.
Don't cry.
Just like that, like you were a little boy and then all of a sudden you're not allowed to cry anymore.
Suck it up. You'll be right. I tell my girls that as I give them a hug. Yeah, don't worry, you'll be all right. Because we're going to be all right. But it's okay to cry.
Yeah.
I can't cry. I told you earlier. My kids always say to me, I remember my daughter when she saw me crying the last time. She didn't know what to do. I remember her looking at me. She was like, what's happening?
Yeah. It needs to change. It's changing, but
needs to change.
The awareness is there.
And then we've got so many mob especially, but we've got young fellas that are taking their own lives. And we think, hang on, these kids growing up, they're not allowed to cry. They're not allowed to feel sad. But they feel sad and they cry. And they feel like something's wrong with them. Mate, like, of course, they're mixed up. They've got all these different feelings. They don't know what to think. It's just sad, man.
It is. And I think us sharing spaces like this and just talking about it, because, society, I'm just making assumptions, would see us two men here and think strong man and all that. But, we feel deeply.
100%.
And we get told that maybe we don't care sometimes.
Yeah.
When we care too much. It's a protective mechanism, and I think the most courageous thing is asking for help.
Yeah.
And that's hard for some.
Massively. And that ties in, with, feeling like I can't provide my own home for my wife and my kids. Yeah, why am I so different? What's wrong with me? It's not that. It's just that I haven't asked the question. There are pathways out there. There are ways it can happen. Yeah. There's nothing special. I pay my mortgage like everyone else, It's just knowing where to go, who to turn to, who to ask for help. I'd never bought a house. How do you do that?
Here's the steps now. You've done it.
There it is.
Love that.
Yeah. And now I'm like, how do I buy a second one? How do I buy something to leave for my kids? I didn't work so hard for them to have nothing when I go. It's
empowering, brother.
Yeah. I want to run out and do another one now after talking about that.
Why not? The next couple of years, what's that look like? Spiritually, socially, economically, career-wise, just overarching, hey, anything you want to bring awareness to, something you're working towards?
So I've been moving, career-wise, I've been moving stages closer and closer and closer, So I started working as a youth worker and in youth detention centres, and I love that work. Some really fond memories, and I'll never forget, I'm working with kids that have gone from, being in youth detention to having charges and to Section 17s where there's no recordings on their criminal history and back into work. Like, that's amazing. To just being a normal youth worker in a high school, to being a CEC now, to literally just this week having the Queensland I think QCOD, I think it's called. So it's where you register as a teacher. They've just approved my permission to teach. So I'm not finished my degree. They've just approved it so I can start teaching in high school. Like, man, one step closer to getting to these kids before they enter the system, you know, and showing them that there are ways out and pathways, and, you know, that's where I'm at. So that's next year. That's where I'm at, high school teaching. Working with mob, working with, you know, kids from the surrounding islands here and showing them that there's a way forward. And yeah, man, career-wise, that's what we're looking at. Yeah.
Feeling pretty inspired just listening to you.
Yeah, mate, like being that person I needed when I was in high school, telling me, nah, don't fail school. I remember I remember telling people in year 12 who needs an education. Oh, that's crazy to look back at that now, and I think, like, who needs an education? Like, I said that, those words came out of my mouth. You know, like, knowledge is power. And the more you learn, the more you earn. That's how I live by that. And to tell these kids every day, I learn from them, I learn from everyone. Yep. So high school teaching. I wanted to be a chef when I was in primary school. Funny. I wanted to be a chef, and then I wanted to be a teacher. So I got a job as a food science teacher. So I'll be doing food tech and HPE, because you should always do something you love. But I was teaching kids how to cook. It's amazing. How good's that?
So good. Mickey Mouse.
Life school. Mickey Mouse, that's right, eh? Teaching them, you know, like we cooked butter chicken this week at school. Like, you know, I love teaching. I love making kangaroo curry for the kids, eh? They love it. They love it. Something different. Kangaroo curry. Yeah, man. So, yeah, food tech, HPE teacher. That's the near future. Maybe I think, like, I do have aspirin, maybe not as a principal. I'm not principal, deputy principal, but maybe head of student services and looking after well-being and that sort of stuff. That's interests me. Yeah.
I'm here for it, brother.
It's hard getting away from that. You know, and I go home and I say to my wife, like, man, these kids at school today, like, I don't worry for them. It's just like, it's really hard to let go, knowing that they're going back home. And, you know, I really struggled with that for a while, and I just think to myself, I'm just going to make today the best day ever for these kids, you know, so they want to come to school, you know.
And then in 10 years' time, they're on a podcast talking about that one teacher that stuck with them.
Mate, let's get him on, you know. Yeah. It's cool, eh?
Full circle.
Full circle. Full circle.
Now, I want to close with something. You've said, you know, knowledge is power. Earning, learning, earning. And that earning can be financial, spiritual, family. Is there anything out there that you want to pass on? It could be a quote about life, spirituality, just some thoughts for mob about moving forward. Just want to give you the floor and, you know, let you share something to close out our great yarn, because you and I could probably yarn until these hard drives run out, I reckon.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I could.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing I would say for mob, for anyone out there, is connect with your mob. You know, I didn't know all the details I know now when I was 15. You know, you got to search for that and find out who you are. And if you find out at 50 that you're mob, that's amazing, you know, good on you. But don't in 5 years' time have no more information. Go looking for it. You have an obligation to find out who your ancestors are. And I talk to kids all the time and they'll say, I'm half Aboriginal, half Irish. No, you're not half anything. Which leg is Aboriginal? Which leg is Torres Strait Islander? You know, it doesn't change who your ancestors are. You might have one Aboriginal grandparent or great-grandparent who you're still Aboriginal. You're still mob. You still have an obligation to go and find out their story. And I get the stolen generations has really disrupted that passing on of knowledge. But you can't stop trying. You can't just be satisfied with, you know, I think my great-granddad is, don't know their mob. You know, you need to understand, and you need to do it for your kids. Your kids need to understand where they're from. And, you know, that was a missing link for me, is not having that information when I was, 10 and under, when I really needed it. Mm. You know, it's a journey. It's a journey, but you need to search. You need to search for it. And, we're all connected. Someone knows. Someone knows, My mother told me that her grandmother grew up in an orphanage and was raised by, she was adopted at 2. She was raised by missionaries, she told me. Little did I know, Little did I know, Wellington Mission down in New South Wales there, she married a fella at 16 in Bathurst, an Aboriginal Irish railway worker. And, I told my mum this stuff. Like, Mum, how did you not know? And I understand that's her traumas and the way she was brought up. But I have an obligation to tell my kids,
yes,
that they need to know. And what they do with it is up to them. But never stop dreaming. You can be whatever you want to be. Look for those role models. They're out there. Just chase it, man. Never give up, Never give up on them dreams.
Never stop dreaming.
That's it.
There's a reason this is called.
Mate, I've got new dreams every day.
Brother, that's it. It's never stop.
Never stops.
Modern day storytelling. Modern day yarns. Brother, I appreciate your time.
No worries.
It's a good yarn. I'm feeling really, I'm always focused, but I'm really feeling aligned after this. It's just reinforcing everything and why I do it. And appreciate you, brother. Let's yarn more, eh?
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks. With the Christmas season approaching, times can get tough. It's important that we acknowledge this and let people know that reaching out to talk to someone is a sign of strength. If you or someone you know is struggling, support is out there. Lifeline, Beyond Blue, Brother to Brother, 1-3 Yarn. These are some of the services that you can access. This is your reminder, if you're listening, that you don't have to face this season alone.